Islam Makhachev shares three-word reactions as Aaron Pico issues a statement after vicious UFC 319 knockout loss. Islam Makhachev said, "Head up, champ." If you guys don't know, Aaron Pico trained with Islam Makhachev at AKA 10 years ago. You can see the pictures as well. Dricus Duplessis' coach rejects an immediate rematch against Khamzat Chimaev after UFC 319. He said absolutely not. Dricus Duplessis' coach Morne Wieser has rejected the idea of an immediate rematch with Khamzat Chimaev after his fighter Dricus Duplessis lost the middleweight title to the wrestling at UFC 319. Talking to Submission Radio following the pay-per-view, the South African's coach admitted that he and his pupil have a lot improved after the recent setback. On the topic of potential rematch, Reese said this.
Problem. Because we're going to face Khamzat and I want to destroy him this time. And I know it sounds easy, man. It sounds so easy. If you can just get that guy not to take you down or stuff his takedowns and stand back up and just punish him. But he also picked up his wrestling game. So no RDR for us right now. Now I'd rather spend the time in fixing this problem than running back into the cage, take another fight. It doesn't make sense for us now, for me in any case.
Kamaru Usman silences the short notice talks, gives full credit to Khamzat Chimaev. In the recent podcast with Henry Cejudo, Kamaru Usman praised Khamzat Chimaev's performance against Dricus Duplessis, but he said he was still not satisfied. But at the end of the day, Khamzat Chimaev was given some props by his former rival opponent Kamaru Usman, and also the former UFC pound for pound and the former UFC welterweight champion Kamaru Usman. So that's what Kamaru Usman has to say about Khamzat Chimaev's recent performance and people criticizing him over his fight against Dricus Duplessis for using too much wrestling in that fight.
First and foremost, let's address it with the whole, oh yeah, you took the fight on this day's notice and it looked. Listen, at the end of the day, I know who I am as a fighter and the way that I approach this game, and so does Khamzat Chimaev. At the end of the day, it was still a loss on my side, and it was a win on the win column of Khamzat Chimaev. So I don't, oh yeah, you should feel this way. No, it was an L. I don't feel any sort of type of way. It's an L, and there's a mutual respect there with how I respect him for coming at it. Because each and every fight that we go into as fighters, you don't know what we're dealing with. You don't know what he was dealing with. You don't know what I was dealing with, going into the fight. And it looked the way it did. And also, like I said, styles make fights. I'm a much different style than these guys are. And I say it all the time. You don't know until you get in there. Khamzat did the best that he could to get the win, and he got that win. So let's give him that credit and let's move on.
Demetrious Johnson stood up for Khamzat Chimaev when people criticized him for being the boring fighter and not striking him while standing up against Dricus Duplessis. Demetrious Johnson was giving the live reactions on the UFC 319 YouTube channel, and he said that he is impressed by Khamzat Chimaev's performance. Also called out the people who were saying that Khamzat Chimaev is not a great fighter, and he used his wrestling a little bit too much. If you don't want to watch wrestling, don't watch MMA, because it's mixed martial arts for a reason. Everything is mixed in here. You can do whatever the rules are. If the wrestling is not allowed, of course you will not do wrestling. If the wrestling is allowed, we will do fucking
If you guys don't want to watch grappling and wrestling and jiu-jitsu, don't watch UFC. Don't. You guys are complaining about something that it's a very simple problem to fix. It's a very simple problem to fix. For example, let's say Khamzat's about to fight again. You don't want to watch a style. All you gotta do is go like this. You see this button right here? It's called off button. You just go like this. You go off. You don't have to see Khamzat wrestle. It's a very simple problem to have. It's a very simple problem to fix.
Bilal Muhammad takes a shot at Kamaru Usman, is saying that Kamaru got permission and checked in before he got here in Chicago. So please stop asking me. He also posted some of the pictures of the DM with Kamaru Usman, but I think so that's not real, of course. But it was a funny thing to see anyways. Khabib Nurmagomedov has hinted the Umar Nurmagomedov fight by saying that end of October. So that's what Khabib said about Umar Nurmagomedov's next fight. Jon Jones has finally responded to Dana White after Dana said that he cannot trust Jon Jones for the title fight at the White House. That's what Jon Jones replied to Dana White, saying that I like my chances fighting at the White House. Despite his previous lack of interest in unifying the title against Aspinall, Jones said after he retired that he had fight whoever held the heavyweight belt next summer. There's no guarantee from White as of now, but Jones remains optimistic he will fight on the White House lawn. Despite the odds, I'm still training and optimistic about the possibility of being the part of the White House event, Jon Jones wrote on X. At the end of the day, Dana is the best boss, and it's his call whether I compete that night or not. Another breaking news coming from the MMA world is that Deiveson Figueiredo will fight Montel Jackson at UFC Rio on October 11th. It was confirmed from the resources of the ESPN Brazil. That's what Deiveson Figueiredo next fight is, and I think so that nobody knows about this opponent. It seems like the fight between Peter Yan, I don't know the other opponent's name, but Figueiredo is fighting someone named Jackson that I have never heard of. A lot of people were asking that who is Khamzat Chimaev facing next? Is he going to face someone in Abu Dhabi or whatever? Khamzat Chimaev just recently tweeted and he said RDR. That's what he always said. So that's what Khamzat Chimaev is hinting his next fight, and it's a big possibility that could happen in Abu Dhabi in October. So that's what Khamzat Chimaev said, and RDR replied immediately saying that send me location, and he said he's ready to take on Khamzat Chimaev, and he said he will show him the real wrestling and jiu-jitsu. Former UFC middleweight champion of the world Israel Adesanya said that Khamzat Chimaev is a great fighter, and he also praised Khamzat Chimaev's performance against Dricus Plessis, and he also said that Devian is in good hands.
Yeah, not what I expected, but I'm glad Khamzat fixed his cardio or improved his cardio to the point where he can go 5 rounds and just ragdoll people. That's a mess. That's a mess to deal with, because I thought DDP, okay, maybe round 4, he'd be able to stuff the takedowns because Khamzat would get tired, but he didn't even slow down. He slowed down DDP. He slowed him down, which was very impressive, because that's when he finished me round 4, because I thought, okay, I got him now, but he just finds a way to get his 3rd wind. 4th wind, but yeah, Khamzat made sure he didn't even get the 1st wind and just smothered him. 50-44, something crazy. 50-44, yeah, 50-44, that was crazy. So yeah, Khamzat, new middleweight champion, division's in good hands.